I don't really think that these kinds of results are gonna be something you're gonna get from a Milsbo. I just don't. Okay, so this video is gonna be extremely awkward to film because the grow tent is really long and the phone is really wide and I've got to have lights, so it's just like everything's all over the place. But one of my viewers, I believe her name is Rachel, asked me if I could do a video about my grow tent, and I was like, yes, I can do that. So here we are, we're doing it. I didn't even bother to change my clothes from the video I just filmed because like I ain't got time for that today. Okay, so here we go. This is my grow tent. I like it. I recommend it. It's not sponsored. It's not a fancy brand. It is a brand called Yeatahome. And I really, really like it because reasons. And also it was the only one that I could find that was this small of a size. It's basically the size of like a portable closet. So I think it's 2 feet by 2 feet by 5 feet tall. So it fits perfectly like just behind my door. My door to my bedroom is like right here. So usually when I'm in my bedroom, the door is open. So I only ever really see it when I want to go in there. It's honestly, you guys, I can't really stress enough, if you want to take your plant parenting abilities like up a level, a grow tent is just an absolutely invaluable tool for you, especially if you have ambitions of importing plants, if you want to start kickstarting the growth on certain plants, if you live somewhere where the winters are just absolutely brutal and you have coveted plants that you just can't bear to see decline. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can do a Milsbo, but like really a grow tent is like a spa vacation for your plants. It's unbelievable. Like, let me show you something that's just out of control, amazing, blew all my expectations, and just show you, and then like you guys can make up your mind for yourselves like what you think about this, but like I'm just gonna show you. Okay, this is my Anthurium crystallinum black. As you can see, it's freaking huge. It's gigantic. This leaf isn't even fully hardened off yet, and it's huge. And this is another one. This leaf, I measured it a couple weeks ago. This leaf is 12 inches. And I got this plant over the summer. I think I got this plant in July. I imported it from South America. And look, it's in this teeny tiny little self-watering pot in Lechuza Pond. This plant has been in the grow tent for a couple of months, and it went from having one leaf this size with 0 roots to having 4 beautiful leaves. This one is huge. This one's like not that much smaller than my Anthurium regal. It's still floppy, like it could get bigger. Don't try to tell me that, I mean, okay, granted, like maybe it's possible, but like, I don't really think that these kinds of results are gonna be something you're gonna get from a Milsbo. I just don't. I normally don't leave my plants in the grow tent like indefinitely, but I left this one in there because I really want to pollinate it eventually. So I wanted it to mature really quickly, and I was absolutely blown away. Like, I would have never thought that this plant would mature this quickly, but like it did. So I just like, I know a lot of people say like, oh my God, grow tents are so ugly. I can't handle it. I don't have anywhere to put it. I get it. Like, I get it. But also like, I don't care. This is worth it. So I'm gonna go over really quickly, like just everything that's in there as far as like equipment. And then I'm gonna show you some more plants and then decide for yourself what you think. The other thing that I do wanna mention is that pretty much everything that I purchased for this, I did purchase from Amazon, and Amazon's just not really having the most ethical week this week. So if you do not want to purchase anything from Amazon, I 100% agree with you and support that. And I'm like rethinking my relationship with that company right now too. But I don't know where all these products are available. If I find them, I'll link them outside of Amazon. But yeah. All right, so grow tent. Anthurium Nirvana, courtesy of the Yeatahome grow tent. Okay, let me put this back. Okay, so the tent itself, and I think this is true of most grow tents, like you do not have to get this brand. I chose this brand because it was the only one I could find that had this small size and it was really cheap. I think it was only like 69 bucks. And so if you get a grow tent on like a sale day, or I think my friend got her grow tent that's actually twice this size on sale for like $49 on Black Friday last year, like you can get them for really cheap if you are willing to like kind of like wait for the sale. A Milsbo, by comparison, all of everything that you're gonna need to get a Milsbo set up. Like I've looked into it because I really wanted one. You're gonna be in like the $600 range. And so I know a lot of people who are like, no, not only is the grow tent ugly, but I want to be able to see my plants and display them. And it's like valid. Like you can use a Milsbo and a grow tent in conjunction with each other. Like the Milsbo should be your display case. You use the grow tent to rehab and beautify your plants until you get something that looks like that Anthurium crystallinum, and then you put that in your Milsbo because that is your display case. I like no tea, no shade, but like I see a lot of Milsbos on like, you know, the internet, social media, YouTube, Instagram that just look full of honestly like busted up, beat to hell plants. It completely defeats the purpose of the fancy display cabinet if it's full of plants that like really need to be rehabbed. So the grow tent is great for that. It's also way cheaper. I think total for everything, all the equipment in here, it was like 130 bucks or something. And I had it literally like 2 days from when I ordered it. Like I got this like wild idea. I was like, I need a grow tent. And then like 2 days later, I was setting it up. So that's just something to think about. Like if you have a plant that's like fancy that you imported and you didn't think that you were gonna, you know, need special tools for it and it's melting down and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? You could literally have a grow tent in 2 days. And that's actually what I did with one of my Queen Anthurium. I was like, this plant is gonna die if I don't do something. And I put it in a little mini greenhouse and that didn't do anything. And then I put it in the grow tent and like, I still have it, it's still alive. So let's take a look at what's inside as far as equipment. So the tent itself, it has reflective interior. So that is really helpful with evenly distributing the light. Okay, so the great thing about these tents is that they have these little, like, I don't know what to call these, but you know, entry and exit points. And this is like where you run your cords. So this tent has them on each side and on the ceiling. So one on this side, one over here, and then one on the ceiling. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this thing in here to show you the ceiling, but like my point is that you can use any lights, you can use any fan, you can use any heat mat if you want to put a heat mat in there. You can literally use anything because it has these holes where you can run your cords through. So you do not have to worry about like, oh, I can't afford like the fancy light or whatever. Like, no, you don't have to worry about that. You can literally use whatever. So my grow tent setup is so cheap. So the tent was like 69 bucks and it's basically this like reflective, like kind of canvas, plastic canvas material over this metal frame. It's extremely easy to put together. And then on the bottom, it has this tray. So if you spill water or anything like that, it goes into this tray. So that's a really handy feature. And then because it has these entry and exit ports on both sides and the top, it gave me so much flexibility on where I could put everything. So I literally have just this little $14 cheapo fan in here, and it does just fine keeping the airflow. I would say that a fan is pretty mandatory. Like in one this size, you could probably get away without it if you open it every day. But like you really want to keep the humidity up. Like when this tent is closed, the humidity stays over 90% and I don't have a humidifier in here. The nice thing about this tiny size one is that you don't need a humidifier because the actual like plants and the moss and everything will generate enough humidity to keep it up super high. So far we have a $69 tent, we have a $14 fan, and then I have this $10 humidity meter. So you can see it's 70 degrees in there and it's 83 right now because the tent's been open a bit, but when I opened it, it was like 95, I think. This has a magnet on the back As you can see, I just have it clipped to my light. So this light is just, I think it was like a $25 light. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing special. Because it is such a small tent, I don't need anything really, really powerful. And actually having something super powerful would probably be bad in this case, because as you can see, the light is like right on top of a lot of these plants. And actually, even with this like not particularly strong light, the Vitara Folium I don't think is super happy. So I need to fix that, but that's okay. Like, it's alive. Okay, so aside from the $69 tent, the $14 fan, the $25 grow light, $10 humidity meter, we have a shelf. And if I was gonna do this over again, the shelf is honestly where I wasted the most money, because I think that this shelf was like $40. And you could definitely find a shelf for less than $40 if you have a little bit more time to look for like a deal, maybe on like Facebook Marketplace or something along those lines. I just paid a little bit more because I didn't have time to really do research and find something cheaper, but it works. It's a little bit smaller than the tent, so there is room on the sides for like taller plants or plants that maybe don't need quite as much light. So I definitely kind of find that useful, but if I had it to do over again, I would try and find a cheaper shelf. So honestly, you could probably do this for even cheaper than I did it, because this shelf really like wasn't the best deal. Even though you don't need to do this, I did add additional grow lights like on each shelf. And I do really like these ones because they're very gentle, like they won't burn your plants. The strip ones that I have on my other shelf, those, if it was set up like this, would burn these plants if it was on full volume. So you just have to be really careful that whatever lights you put on your shelves in a smaller tent, that they're not gonna burn your plants. But yeah, so that's basically what's in here. I have all my lights on timers, so I don't even have to, worry about that. Like most of the grow lights that you find online, they have these little timers. I mean, they're not super advanced. Like this is upside down, but you can choose between 3 hours, 6 hour, 12 hour, and then it'll automatically go off. But yeah, like this setup, it's so small and it fits behind my door. And honestly, it saved me probably thousands of dollars in plants that like would have died. The stuff that's in here right now, there's some good stuff in here, but like, I don't think this is the most impressive roster that's ever lived in here. But this Crystallinum Black, I'm immensely proud of because it's incredible. And then this Anthurium Regale is in here, and it's putting out aerial roots like crazy. It just never stops. I have rooted all of my Philodendron Patriciae in here. These are notoriously difficult to root, and they all rooted in here. My friend actually is going through it with his and doesn't have space for a tent. And I wish I could just put his plant in here because it would fix the problem immediately. See, you can see these are the big Queen Anthurium that I got at the pop-up like a week and change ago. They're both doing really well. Zero acclimation damage. The big dark and narrow one actually is working on a leaf. See right there in her caterpillar, she's working on a leaf. Anyone who's imported Queen Anthurium and tried to acclimate them without humidity knows that a week out from coming in from import, a Queen Anthurium that's not in a tent or a greenhouse is gonna look like absolute trash. And like these are perfect. And this is the Esmeralda, and this leaf wasn't even fully hardened off and it's still doing well. I need to water them, but like, yeah, you really can't argue with that result. So this is a Anthurium Wendlingeri, and it actually has like 2 new leaves coming in on it. This, okay, sorry that this is like kind of disjointed and all over the place, but I'm just gonna bring the plants out and show you them because like trying to film it in there was just not really working. But so yeah, I'll show you one more time. All right, so you saw this one. Goodness gracious, this is wonderful. This is incredible. This is honestly probably my best looking plant in my collection right now. Like that's how good the tent is. So this is doing great in there. Let me grab a couple other things to show you. So this is an Anthurium metallicum that I have had since June. And I got it at the Ecuagenera pop-up. I hauled it in June. And this thing didn't do anything. It didn't root. It did absolutely flipping nothing for like 5 or 6 months. And I just left it in the tent and I kept the moss moist. And I just was like, you know, it's either gonna live or it's gonna die. And it never really started to decline. It had these 2 leaves on it when I got it. And this leaf right here, this came out in the tent like last month. Holy moly, look at this. It's beautiful and huge and like just lovely and perfect. And check out these roots. This plant would not still be here if it wasn't for this tent. Like, I kid you not, honestly, it just would not. Like, the tent is such an incredible tool. And at this point, yeah, I could probably take it out, and I will, but I'm gonna wait until spring because it's just used to being spoiled in there, and I really like it and I really don't want to mess it up. But this is the kind of stuff that, like, if you're struggling with your plants, and especially if you're like really, really sad watching them decline over the winter, like, the tent is gonna change it from, oh my God, this is horrible and heart-wrenching and like, I'm gonna take a huge risk getting this plant, to, it's fine. Like, it doesn't even feel like a risk because I know I'll just put it in the tent and it'll be fine. I mean, like, if this doesn't speak for itself, like, I don't know what would, because I really do not see a lot of people who use a Milsbo with results like this. And so now, I don't personally have room for a Milsbo. If I did, I would have one. But like, these plants have been in there for a couple of months, and like, these are ready to go in your display case if you need them to. I think in my house, they'll be fine, you know, in spring. All right, let me get more stuff. I'll show you more stuff. So this is an Anthurium Ace of Spades that I hauled a couple months ago. You can go watch that plant haul if you want. It was a good one. There's a lot of good stuff. But Ace of Spades are notorious for being a little bit weird. They're a hybrid of unknown parentage. And so sometimes hybrids can kind of like be a little quirky. And these are known for just putting tons and tons of energy and rooting constantly, and then like not really putting out a lot of leaves unless they have really high humidity. Since I got this plant, like, and put it in the tent, just, I don't know, like last month or so, look at these roots. They're huge. And then there's more up top. And then look, it's actually working on pushing out a leaf. This plant, if I hadn't put it in the tent, it would have declined. Like, it 100% would have declined after, you know, being shipped and then having to acclimate. Instead of having to acclimate after shipping, it just goes into having a spa vacation. Literally, the tent takes you from like, oh, it's gonna be sad and difficult and like a long time to recover, into like just constantly being amazed at how great your plants look. So that's the Ace of Spades. Okay, so this is a Philodendron Patricii that I got over the summer. I actually got this in the same order as the Black Crystallinum, and it's just in moss. They really like moss, and like, look at this. I think when I got it, it had 2 leaves, and now it's given me 2 more. It's just growing. These are known as being really slow growers. And in the tent, it's just, you know, it's plucking away. It's giving me roots, and look at how ruffly this leaf looks. It looks so pretty. Like, it's just, I'm so happy. So don't mind this because it got burned by the light. But like, look at this Majestic. This leaf was pretty big too, but just don't mind the light damage. But you guys have seen my other one. It took like a year to get it to grow. This, I got it, it was just like, I think it was just a node. And I think I got it over the summer, and the first leaf popped out like this. And then it just, every single leaf after that has been bigger and bigger. So, you know, and it's working on another one. So I'm just, if you are struggling with plants, if you're struggling with Anthurium, if you're on a budget, I just can't really recommend the Grow Tent more. It's just changed everything for me. I no longer have to worry about if plants are gonna live or die, because they'll do fine in there. But like, the one caveat is like, you do have to, you know, like, keep it clean and like be careful that you don't, you know, put leaves too close to lights and forget to water things and, you know, get airflow, and you do have to monitor it. Like, you definitely can get like some nasty stuff going in these things. And like, if you get a pest outbreak in them, like, everything in there is gonna get the pest. So you gotta be up, you know, on your pest control. But bam. Like, I don't know, you know, like, look, I've had this plant for like a week and it's just in moss. And like, look, we've already got a little root that was definitely not there before. And I'm just like, you know, look at even the like juvenile leaves, they still look really good. This is the Warocqueanum esmeralda, by the way. This floppy leaf, no damage. Look at this big girl. Look at this big girl, dark and narrow queen. Like she's gorgeous and she's doing great in there. She's pushing a leaf. Like, honestly, I tell my friends that ask me, or like people who DM me and ask me for plant advice of like, how do I acclimate imports or whatever? It's like with Queen Anthurium especially, the grow tent is literally the difference between a new leaf a month after you get your Queen Anthurium imported from Ecuador or having a stump after a few months. So yeah, I mean, like if you really are serious about wanting to go hard with plant collecting, like wanting to get some like investment pieces, like, okay, like I hate calling plants investment pieces because like I don't really agree with that, but that's like a topic for another day. But like, you know what I mean? Like plants that are a big purchase, but you're too scared. Honestly, like getting the grow tent makes it just like fine. It's not a risk. You know, import whatever, it'll all do fine. Like the only problem that I have with mine is that I run out of space in there. So that's that. If you have more questions, please leave them down below and I will do my best to answer them. You know, once again, if you just can't get past the way it looks and you don't like it, or you don't have space for it, or you want to display your plants, like I get it. Totally understand, you know, like you got to do what's right for you in your space, in your house, but just like understand that the tent is not meant to be a forever home for any of your plants. It is a tool to help you acclimate, rehab, propagate, mature, what have you, whatever your goals are. Like the tent can help you with it, and you can still have your plants out displayed. It's just that getting them through the difficult parts after acclimating, keeping them from going into shock, the tent is great for that. So then the other thing too that I forgot to mention earlier is that it does have a window, so you can peek in on them without having to open it. And then on the sides, there are panels that have mesh on them. So you can actually like take those off if you want to reduce the humidity or you want to increase the airflow or whatever. So that's my spiel. That's my sales pitch on the grow tent. I highly recommend that if you really want to take your plant parent skills to the next level, you seriously consider finding a spot for one, because it's just, this is like what most people think when they think they need a Mills bow. Like this is actually what you need, because a lot of plants, once they're through the shock of being shipped and they're fully acclimated and they have like a full big root ball that isn't rotten and they've been, you know, put into their forever substrate, most plants, unless you live somewhere where the humidity is really low, they're a lot more resilient than you'd think. And like, oh, they can actually live in open air. You know, there's probably going to be a little acclimation period when you take them out of the tent and put them in your house, but like they'll survive. That's just my opinion. And like, I think if you've been on the fence about it, you should just go for it, because you won't be sorry. Like you're going to go from having trouble to just being blown away. So yeah, once again, my black crystallinum says, do it. You can do it. Do it. Don't you want your plants to look like me? You should do it. So sorry for being a dork, but that is my grow tent sales spiel. So yeah, let me know if you have questions. Rachel, I hope this answered your questions. Putting it together is really easy too. Like it's like a 30-minute setup. You can do it. I did it by myself. So, all right, plenty people. Thanks for watching this. I'm sure it was very disjointed. Like and subscribe. See you in my next one. Okay, bye.